Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mental Improvement channel. I'm truly glad you're here for another Deep Dive Thursday. Today we're exploring something most people never take the time to define, yet it's the foundation for every major decision, every relationship, and the sense of meaning in your life. We're talking about core values, the fundamental beliefs and principles that guide who you are and how you show up in the world. Most people live by default values, absorbed from parents, culture, friends, or social media, without ever questioning if those values truly align with their authentic selves. This can leave you feeling lost or unfulfilled, like you're living someone else's life. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll explore what core values are, why they matter, how to identify yours, and how to live by them for a more purposeful and authentic life. Your core values are like your internal compass. When you're aligned with them, life feels right even when it's hard. When you're out of alignment, everything feels off, even if things look good from the outside. Today we'll break down what core values are, why they're so important, and how you can discover your own. This is deep, transformative work, so grab a notebook. You'll want to take notes as we go along. Let's get started by understanding exactly what core values are and why they're the foundation for a meaningful, authentic life. Let's start with the basics. What exactly are core values? Core values are the fundamental beliefs and principles that matter most to you. They're what you stand for, non-negotiable aspects of who you are and how you want to live. Think of them as your personal operating system, the underlying code that determines how you process decisions, interpret experiences, and navigate the world. Unlike goals, which are destinations, values are about how you want to travel through life. They're enduring qualities and principles you want to embody, no matter what's happening externally. It's important to distinguish values from goals. Goals are specific outcomes, like running a marathon or starting a business. Values, on the other hand, are about the qualities you want to embody, like financial security, abundance, or generosity. Goals can change over time, but your core values are more enduring. There are no right or wrong values, only those that are authentically yours versus those you've adopted from others. Someone might value adventure and freedom while another values stability and security. Neither is better, they're just different. Some common core values include authenticity, growth, connection, creativity, independence, integrity, compassion, achievement, justice, family, health, adventure, wisdom, service, and courage. But your specific values are uniquely yours. The combination of your top 7 core values creates your unique value signature, the blueprint for your most authentic life. The key is to identify the values that genuinely resonate with your soul, not just what sounds good or what others expect. If you can't clearly articulate your top 5 core values right now, you're not alone. Most people can't, and that's exactly why so many feel lost or unfulfilled. Many of us live by values we've inherited or absorbed, never stopping to question if they truly reflect who we are. This lack of clarity can lead to confusion, dissatisfaction, and a sense of living someone else's life. But once you identify your true values, everything starts to make sense. Let's talk about why core values matter so much. First, they provide clarity in decision-making. Every major decision becomes easier when you have clear values. Should you take that job, stay in that relationship, move to a new city? When you know your values, you have a framework for making choices. You're not just guessing or following what others think you should do. Your values become your criteria for every important decision. Second, core values enable authentic living. When you're living according to your true values, you stop performing for others or shape-shifting to fit in. You show up as yourself, consistently and unapologetically. This doesn't mean you're rigid, but rather that your inner values and outer actions are aligned. Authenticity becomes your foundation and you live with integrity. Third, core values create fulfillment and meaning. You can achieve everything society tells you to, career, house, relationship, money, and still feel empty if those achievements don't align with your values. But when you're living your values, even ordinary moments feel meaningful. Fulfillment isn't about what you accomplish, it's about being who you truly are. Fourth, your values provide resilience during difficult times. When life gets hard, your values become your anchor. If you value growth, challenges become opportunities. If you value connection, loss reminds you what matters. If you value courage, fear becomes something to move through. Your values give you a why that's bigger than your circumstances, helping you keep going when things get tough. Fifth, core values attract aligned relationships and repel misaligned ones. When you're clear about your values, you attract people who share or respect them. Deep, meaningful relationships happen when core values align, or at least when people honor each other's values. You stop wasting time on relationships that don't work and invest in those that nourish you. Sixth, living by your values reduces anxiety and existential confusion. Much anxiety comes from internal conflict, wanting one thing while doing another. When your life aligns with your values, that conflict dissolves. You might still face external challenges, but you're not fighting yourself internally. This alignment brings peace and clarity. Seventh, your values shape your legacy. At the end of your life, what will matter isn't your job title or bank account, but whether you lived with integrity and honored what mattered most to you. Your values determine the impact you leave on the world and the people in it. This is why values work is so important. It's the difference between living a life that feels like yours and one that feels like you're just going through the motions. Values work isn't just abstract philosophy. It's the difference between living a life that feels like yours and one that feels like you're just going through the motions. When you know and live by your core values, you create a life that's authentic, meaningful, and uniquely yours. Now, let's get practical and talk about how to actually identify your core values. The first step in identifying your core values is to start with a comprehensive values list. Go online and find a list of core values. There are plenty available. Read through the list slowly and notice your body's response to each word. Which values resonate with you? Circle or highlight 15-20 values that feel most important right now. Don't overthink it, trust your intuition. Step 2 is to reflect on your peak experiences. Think about 3 to 5 moments in your life when you felt most alive, fulfilled, and yourself. These don't have to be big moments, they can be simple, like a meaningful conversation or helping someone. For each experience, ask yourself what you were doing, who you were with, and what values you were honoring. Write it all down and look for patterns. Step 3 is to identify what frustrates or engages you most. Our strongest frustrations often point to violated values. What makes you angry or feels intolerable? What injustices get under your skin? If you're furious when people are dishonest, you probably value honesty. If you're upset by exclusion, you likely value inclusion or fairness. Your anger and frustration are data, they show you what matters. Step 4 is to notice where you naturally invest your time, money, and energy. Your actual behavior reveals your real values, not just your aspirational ones. Look at your calendar and bank statements. Where does your time and money go? What activities light you up or drain you? If there's a misalignment between what you say you value and how you spend your resources, it's worth examining. Step 5 is to imagine your eulogy. Picture yourself at the end of your life and someone who knows you deeply is speaking at your funeral. What do you hope they say about your character and what you stood for? The qualities and principles you hope they mention are likely your true values. This exercise can be heavy, but it's incredibly powerful for clarifying what matters most. Step 6 is to narrow your list to your top 5-7 core values. This can be challenging, but it's essential. Ask yourself, if I could only honor 5 values for the rest of my life, which would they be? This forces you to prioritize what's truly most important. Keep refining until you have a short list of values you couldn't compromise without losing yourself. Step 7 is to define what each value means to you specifically. Words mean different things to different people. For each of your core values, write 2 to 3 sentences about what it means to you personally and how it shows up in your life. For example, if freedom is a value, does it mean financial, emotional, or geographic freedom? Getting specific helps you actually live your values. Step 8 is to rank your values in order of importance. This is especially helpful when values compete with each other. For example, if you value both adventure and security, which takes priority when you have to choose, knowing your hierarchy helps you make aligned decisions when life presents tough choices. This process takes time, don't rush it. Sit with your list over days or weeks if needed. Your values are the foundation of your life and they're worth getting right. As you reflect, you may notice some values shift or become clearer. That's perfectly normal. The goal is to arrive at a set of values that feel absolutely essential to who you are. Now that you've identified your core values, how do you actually live by them? The first strategy is to audit your life against your values. Go through the major areas of your life: career, relationships, health, finances, personal growth, and social life. For each area, ask yourself if it's aligned with your core values. Where you see alignment, celebrate it. Where you see misalignment, that's where you need to make changes. The second strategy is to filter decisions through your values. Before making any significant decision, ask yourself if it honors your core values. Use your values as criteria for choices, whether it's a job offer, a relationship question, or how to spend your weekend. This doesn't make every decision easy, but it does make them clearer and more aligned with what matters most to you. The third strategy is to set goals that are rooted in your values. Instead of setting goals based on what you think you should want, set goals that express your values. For example, if you value adventure, set a goal to travel to new places. If you value growth, aim to learn a new skill each quarter. When your goals are expressions of your values, you're intrinsically motivated and pulled forward by what matters. The fourth strategy is to set boundaries that protect your values. Every boundary you set should serve a value. If you value rest, set boundaries around working evenings. If you value respect, set boundaries around how people speak to you. Boundaries aren't mean, they're how you honor what matters most to you and maintain your integrity. The fifth strategy is to communicate your values to the people in your life. The people who matter should know what you stand for. This doesn't mean lecturing them, but living your values visibly and articulating them when appropriate. When people understand your values, they can better support you, or you'll both realize you're fundamentally incompatible. The sixth strategy is to do a daily values check-in. At the end of each day, spend 5 minutes reflecting. Did I live according to my values today? Where did I honor them? Where did I compromise them? This isn't about perfection or self-judgment, but about awareness and course correction. Over time, this practice keeps you aligned and prevents you from drifting away from what matters. The seventh strategy is to reevaluate your values periodically. Your values can evolve as you grow. What mattered at 25 might shift at 35 or 45. Once a year, revisit your core values and ask if they still resonate or if new values are emerging. It's okay for values to change, you're allowed to evolve. The eighth strategy is to be willing to make hard choices. Living by your values sometimes means leaving jobs that pay well but violate your values, ending relationships that don't honor what matters, or saying no to opportunities that don't align. This is hard, but compromising your values is harder in the long run. The goal isn't perfection but alignment, making choices that honor what matters most to you. Remember, the goal isn't to live your values flawlessly every day. No one is perfect. The real aim is alignment, making choices that, more often than not, honor what matters most to you. When you slip up, use it as a learning opportunity and gently course correct. Over time, this builds a life that feels authentic and true. Let's paint a picture of what life looks like when you're living by your core values. You wake up knowing who you are and what you stand for. You're not confused about what matters or what you want. When opportunities come, you can evaluate them quickly because you have clear criteria. When challenges arise, you handle them with integrity because you know your principles. Your relationships become authentic and deep because people know the real you. The ones who stay are those who value what you value. You feel fulfilled even on ordinary days because you're being yourself consistently. You don't need external validation because you're living in alignment with your internal compass. When you look in the mirror, you respect the person looking back. Because that person has integrity, stands for something, and is living their truth. This self-respect is one of the greatest rewards of living by your values. It's not about being perfect, but about being true to yourself every day. Here's the most profound part: you stop comparing yourself to others. You're not trying to live their values, you're living yours. Their path is theirs, and your path is yours. You walk it with clarity, purpose, and authenticity. This is what's possible when you do the work of discovering and living by your core values. This transformation doesn't have to wait for someday. It can start right now. By identifying and living by your core values, you can create a life that feels authentic, purposeful, and uniquely yours. The journey begins with a single step: taking the time to discover what truly matters to you. As we wrap up today's deep dive, here's your homework. Go through the identification process outlined in this episode. Identify your top 7 core values, write them down, and define what they mean to you. Then, start living them one small choice at a time. This is how you build a life that feels like yours. Thank you for being here and for committing to living authentically. You deserve a life that feels like yours, and it all starts with knowing what you stand for. Remember, your values are your compass home. Stay true to them and you'll always find your way. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We're here every Tuesday for our top 10 countdown and every Thursday for another deep dive. Join our community of people committed to mental improvement and authentic living. Until next time, remember to stay true to your values. They are your compass, guiding you home to yourself. No matter what life throws your way, your values will help you navigate with clarity and confidence. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. On screen now, you'll see the subscribe button, video suggestions, and our social media handles. Stay connected with us for more insights and inspiration on your journey to mental improvement. Thank you for being part of this community. Core values are the fundamental beliefs and guiding principles that shape your behavior, decisions, and sense of purpose. They are the non-negotiable aspects of your identity, providing a framework for how you want to live and interact with the world. Understanding your core values is essential for authentic living and long-term fulfillment. Alignment means that your actions, decisions, and lifestyle are consistent with your core values. When you're in alignment, you experience greater clarity, peace, and fulfillment. Misalignment, on the other hand, often leads to stress, confusion, and dissatisfaction. Regularly checking in with your values helps maintain this alignment. Authenticity is the practice of being true to your core values, beliefs, and identity, regardless of external pressures or expectations. It involves showing up as your real self in all areas of life. Authenticity leads to deeper relationships, greater self-respect, and a more meaningful existence.